Hi, I'm Sheryl Sheinafia, and I'm hanging out with Rob at Front Row Live.
Sheryl, I have been kind of in love with this Love Story trilogy that you recently released, and your voice is kind of mesmerizing. I really enjoy listening to your songs and listening to your vocals as well. Um, Talk to me a little bit about this body of work and what made you want to make it a trilogy instead of just a single or instead of like an album.
Okay. So this trilogy itself, I feel like it needed to be uh it needed to be presented in the way that it has been because it is a journey within itself. Like there was this process with creating all of the tracks that that meant about and that represented falling in, out, and in love again. And I feel like that's the generic story of everybody in love, but I guess it was just the subjects of each songs that were portrayed differently this time around. I guess it was something that I feel like hasn't been discussed enough, like on each of the songs.
Coming into this, you already had the identity. You already knew you were writing this kind of trilogy, or were you writing one song and it just so happened that you felt the need to add the other two?
Oh, like I really didn't know what I was walking into. Like when I went to the studio, I had no idea that I was gonna write anything like the trilogy. But um I guess like getting into the studio and talking to the producers, like there are a lot of discussions involved. So there was a lot of stories that I also shared from personal experiences and just things that were very common in a relationship, and that was kind of the edge that where we took it from. And they responded to it well, and every day there would be a new story, and we kind of just like gathered these three as the pillars of what made up the whole trilogy journey.
Did you feel like it was a challenge to write these three songs because it's something that doesn't really get talked about or touched on?
Yeah, I feel like the story itself was really confusing for me, even because I couldn't believe myself to share so much of it. Like there's this experience with the song Earn It. Actually, there's this lyric where I stated like, felt like any second you was gonna get a ring. I was scared, so I let it come between you and me. And it's just kind of that it's I was at that point where I was in a relationship for the longest time, and in that relationship we were getting into like a more serious stage, and I flaked basically. I basically flaked. And
Is that where the song kind of stemmed from?
yeah, like I feel like I was the one who pursued the relationship at first. Like it was we had a relationship for the longest time, and I pursued it first, and then once he was really serious I flaked. And then like at the end of the day it turns out I'm really indecisive, so like I still tried to pursue him again by saying I was dedicated. Like it's just like the up and downs of like the turbulence of a relationship. But no, I did not see this coming, and it was really challenging because um, I guess I wouldn't really speak up about my personal relationship as much, and not since this project, I guess.
Did you find yourself scared at one point just because you were being so vulnerable about such a personal story?
Yeah, I think I was more scared of like disappointing the whole studio because it was my first time recording with these producers, and it was the first time co-writing too with Sophia Quinn, and she's my favorite. Like, she is so good at writing, and I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to flake my career, like for screwing up in a production. I think I was more worried about that than singing about my vulnerabilities, because they made it so easy for me to share my personal story and convert that into a song with me, and writing together and kind of enjoying that process. But the challenge was more of singing in a cold weather and in the studio with new people. That was the biggest challenge, I think.
So what was that moment like you and Sophia started writing together? Like, was that like an instant kind of like, do you feel like the two of you kind of meshed instantly, or do you feel like it took some time before you can get used to the way that she writes and vice versa?
Oh, she is a sweetheart. She is a sweetheart. And I feel like she was really understanding because we're actually in the same age too. So we were sharing a lot about personal experiences, and she was asking me what I wanted to write about, what was my edge. Like, she was the one talking to me about where I wanted it to go, and she would give me a lot of different alternatives. Like, she thinks like that. Like, she is so quick with her head and her words. Um, so yeah, she made it really easy for me to get my scattered mind to put everything in order.
Now, when it comes to the producers, would you say that they're the ones that had you kind of try different ways of singing your lyrics, or did you come into it like being like, this is how I want this song to kind of go, like this is the kind of vibe, this is the kind of sound?
Yes, I feel like that you asked a really great question, because they did involve themselves into like sharing with me how it would be better said, or how it would be, like, even from the production itself, on what a global standard is like. They showed me everything. Like, they broke it down for me, like what a kick should sound like, what a snare should sound like, and that was kind of in the demo already, before it was mastered, before it was even mixed. Like, they showed me a standard I've never actually encountered before in a production, and that's the edge that I was really surprised by, um, as well as my singing, I guess.
Come a long way since recording in a bathroom, right?
Oh crap! Yeah, for sure, for sure, dude. You sound like Graham.
Now, with these three songs, like, where would you say, which song would you say that you had the most fun kind of giving it your all vocally?
Um, I would say "Earn It." That's like the second song in. But personally, I feel like it was a really instant process. So we didn't have much time actually to record,
Hmm.
because we only had a week to do everything. We actually made 5 tracks, but three of them made the cut. Only three of them made the cut because we wanted to keep this as a trilogy. I wanted to keep it as a trilogy. So we did 5 songs and one each day, and the last day was meant for recording the vocals. So I actually scratched 3 of these vocals in one day. Yeah. So so the biggest challenge in I'm so sorry, those are my pups. So the biggest challenge in doing these songs were the fact that I had to record them all in one day. And the last song was Earn It. That was the last song that we did. So if you're asking me like which one was the hardest, that was the hardest because I was losing my voice at that point.
Well, I feel like Earn It also has the most vocal ranges, dynamics. Like, I feel like that's the one where you kind of mess around more with your vocals.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
that's
Thanks.
kind of cool that like that was the last one and you still you still had it in you. That's actually the song that to me, like, it's been in my head. And
Really?
yeah, like just the melody of it as well is just like it's very catchy. So
Cool,
how,
thanks.
coming into this, like, did you have the idea of this melody already for Earn It, or was this something that kind of came up while you guys were already in the middle of recording?
It came up in the middle of recording. I feel like all of the songs came up that way too.
Wow.
I brought in a few songs, but there were just a few of it was more of the chords progressions of the songs that I brought from Indonesia to San Francisco that were converted in some of the pieces that didn't make the cut. But with the trilogy, the melodies and the progressions, it was something that were found along the way. And I'm really glad that it went out that way because it just means we created something new, someplace new, right? Um, and everybody works so quickly. Like everyone's having ideas, so scratching it into like one whole song and kind of like patching up which one suits which part was the fun of the production, and that's a new process that I learned into like creating a song. Like we didn't really have to start from A to Z, but we could start from say F to G and then go back to like the start.
Do you see yourself
Yeah.
incorporating that now moving forward with your new material?
Yes, most definitely. Like it has boosted my speed in songwriting significantly, especially when I'm writing with someone else as well. Like we would scratch in a few tracks first and then go back to the start and then kind of select which parts suit the song and then kind of go through with it. Like it's just a method to be efficient. Of course, ideally, if we already have the story, if we know where the song is headed and it feels natural, like that would give us a really good feeling. But choosing songwriting as one of the professions to in my line of career, like it's something that I have to view objectively too, and I have to take an objective approach by making a song in default.
What was the
I'm like
reason?
very serious that way. I'm so serious.
What was the reasoning behind going to San Francisco to work with this team, with this production team?
uh I feel I feel like I got lucky. I am so lucky to be able to get the opportunity to work with Empire Records. So they were working with a lot of Indonesian artists from different major labels, and it so happens they went across Musica Studios, and one of the artists were me in Musica Studios. So they got me, and they wanted me to go to San Francisco to experience the whole recording situation and write with him, and that was that.
Was this like legit, like your first professional studio experience? Is that what you're saying? Like, or just your first US experience?
This would actually be my second US experience.
Okay.
I had a single too back in 2017 that I made in LA. Um, I guess this is the first time recording with the Aristocrats, which produced a lot of really great R&B hip hop musicians, and writing with Sophia Quinn, and I'm a huge fan of her writing. Um, so that was the opportunity right there. Like I think it was working with new friends and new people and getting into a new culture and feeling the vibe. That was something new. It didn't matter where we were, like being in US, being in Indonesia. It's just two different things. But I think it's just to reach out to different people. That was where I feel was the stretch right there for me.
You did mention on your Instagram, going back to your Instagram, you did mention this was the final release for the time being. What does that mean? Are you taking a break from music and focusing on
Yeah.
something else? Like what can your fans or look forward to?
Yeah, I feel like this is actually going to be my last release for my music. for now, yeah, for the time being, because I'm actually going independent. This is the first time in my career where I've been independent. So I'm setting up my own record label and hopefully working with other artists. But I just kind of want to take a step back and do something else for the time being. I've actually gotten into a few movies, and I'm just gonna concentrate in my acting for a bit, and still go into production and just do whatever I want first these days.
That's cool. I
Yeah,
mean, you get to, I'm sure you're going to get a lot more, you're obviously going to get a lot more experience with, doing movies and meeting new people and new artists. But I feel like that's going
yeah,
to kind of like help you, allow you to be even more creative when it comes back, when it comes time to go back to the studio to create your own music.
yeah. I hope so. Cause like knowing that I don't have any releases that I have to, go by the deadline, and just having to promote it and do everything every now and then, it's just it keeps me in, so like it makes me peaceful. It keeps me sane, and I just want to keep it that way for the time being. I feel like it as well, in the process of deciding that, because I was like, you know what, after this trilogy I feel like I might just release something else again. Like I just want to keep releasing with a different story, and just like I have these new ideas. And then I just went silent for like a week.
Reality check.
Yeah, reality check for sure. And then I was like, okay, this is a really good time to contemplate on what I want to do in the future. And I feel like I should just take a break for a bit,
Yeah.
just take a
Well,
step back for a bit.
it's good. Yeah, it's good to try new things. You're still technically in the same kind of atmosphere. It's still in the arts. It's
Yeah,
still entertainment. So
yeah,
it'd be different if you went to something completely, I don't know,
yeah.
construction or like an attorney or
I'm also headed into creating something in the Web3 space. And it's still involved somewhat in music, but it's still something in the works.
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for allowing us this piece of music that you've given us so far. And yeah, thank you again for taking the time to do this, and congratulations with this new music.
Thanks so much, Rob. You're too kind.